Yo, what's going on guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be ranking all 45 brawlers from worst to the best in the game. So this is going to be based off of a Power League rankings. So I'm basically at the top of the ladder of Power League right now. I've been grinding a lot in terms of tournaments. I've been grinding a lot in terms of practicing against the best teams in the world. So this is going to be a really accurate tier list based off of that and how viable I feel like most of these brawlers are in the current meta. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop straight into it. Okay guys, so starting off with the worst brawler in the game. If you want to see my video a few days ago, you would have known already. So it's going to be Shelley. Shelley just currently sucks in this meta. I've never really seen her at all in terms of competitive or Power League work. Shelley really works against the tankier brawlers, and there's just a lot of better tank counters out there, like Colette, for example, even like brawlers like Spike. There's just so many different brawlers that can counter tanks much better than Shelley at the moment. So that's going to be leading her off as the worst brawler in the game. So at number 44, we have Primo. So another brawler just like Shelley that is just really bad in this meta. He lacks a lot of range, and although he's a really good tank counter, there's just better options out there. I'm actually seeing him a little bit more in game modes like Siege and at Hot Zone to counter a lot of tanks, because that's kind of how the competitive works with the rock paper scissors meta. So Primo can be used in that sense, but in terms of ladder or just in terms of Power League, you're never going to be seeing Primo used at all. So at number 43, we have Bull, and again, I just like to reiterate that the main reason why he's not so good in the meta is because of the heist maps. A lot of the heist maps really do not favor Bull at the moment. Maybe he needs like a big HP buff or just some better maps around him, but he just currently sucks in the meta. There's not really a single map where he thrives in. So coming in at number 42, we have Carl, and although he's received 2 buffs in the recent balance changes, this has literally done nothing in the meta for him. I literally see him nowhere in Power League, nowhere in scrims or anything like that. He's just really bad in the meta. He really needs his old range back to bring him some love back into the meta. Just basically every single matchup, he'll basically lose, even with the buffs, as I said. He just really sucks in this meta. So next up, we have Dynamite, and I saw a lot of angry comments on my video the other day saying, oh, Dynamite isn't as bad as you make out. But in terms of competitive and Power League, he really is. Although if you're really good Dynamite, you can absolutely dominate a lot of teams. It's just very rare and really risky, especially to pull off inside a competitive. There's a lot of brawlers that can just consistently hit shots a lot better. There's better throwers than him. He probably is the worst thrower in the game, and Dynamite just needs a little bit of love with the maps. There was a time a couple of months ago where the maps in ladder really did favor him. They were really closed off with a lot of walls, and Dynamite can thrive there, but he needs a lot of love with a good buff. So coming in at number 40, we have Leon, and with his buffs a few months ago, he was slowly creeping up in the meta, but then again, with the recent buffs to a lot of different brawlers around him, he's just slowly gone down on how good he is. He used to be really good in gem grab and still is a decent brawler overall, but in terms of the meta, it's just a lot of different better brawlers than him, and I just don't really see him being OP in the meta. So coming in at number 39, we have Luan. You might be really surprised by this because Lu, I believe, did get 3 buffs with the last balance changes, but he just still really does suck in this meta. The only mode which I'd really consider using him on is Siege, and still then, whenever I've used Lu in a scrim, he just completely gets wrecked. In the 1v1 interactions, Lu just really does suffer. He's only good against tanks in the 1v1 interactions, and again, it just really isn't even the best against tanks. He's got a really good buff with his super, where it allows, it stops the enemy team from actually healing up if they're inside of his super, but it just really does suck in those 1v1 interactions. I feel like he needs a change in either his actual shooting mechanics, because it's really hard to actually hit the 3 snow cones on one enemy, or he just needs some bigger buff in terms of his gadget. His gadget basically is the worst version of Ticks. Lu just really isn't good in this meta. So at number 38, we have Serge, and Serge a few months ago was so high up on the rankings, and now he's probably the worst 10 brawlers in the game. Competitively speaking, he's only really good on one single map, and that's Split Hot Zone. He's really good on that one because of the TPs through the walls, but other than that, I feel like there's just so many different brawlers that are better than him in the meta. I feel like his reload speed's a bit too slow for how spammy this meta is, with a lot of Mr. P in this meta, with a lot of different interactions with Sandy as well. He hasn't got good scouting capabilities. I feel like it's his reload speed that really lets him down, and he does need a buff. He's really not feeling the love in this meta. So coming in at number 37, we have Gale, and although he literally received probably the smallest buff in Brawl Stars history with his damage to his super, it really did nothing for him in the meta. He's only really good in Hot Zone and Heist. He actually is really strong in Hot Zone, especially because of his defensive capabilities. He's really good on parallel plays and Split right now. A lot of pro teams are using him consistently there, so that's why he's higher up than other people. Other than that, he really sucks in 1v1 engagements. He's only really good at just like defending with his super and just being really passive. Other than that, Gale just really sucks. So at number 36, we have Spike, and a lot of you guys might be really surprised by this one, but honestly, I could have put Spike a lot lower. When he was meta, he only received one nerf, which was the smallest nerf, like a 5% decrease in his reload speed, and that really shouldn't have impacted him that much. But with how the metas are gone, with a lot of Sandy in the meta, with a lot of Mr. P just completely wrecks Spike, and there's just really no need for him in the meta. He really sucks. He's got a lot, really low HP, and he's just too squishy to really deal with anything. There's far better options, and I can't even remember the last time I've seen Spike in Power League or scrims. So at number 35, we have Penny. Penny's one of these brawlers which is never really OP or really trash. She's just a balanced brawler, well-rounded. She doesn't really stand out in any particular mode. She's just good across the board. You can basically use her anywhere and have decent success. In terms of competitive, the higher end of things, there's only really a few maps where she's used on every now and then. The main map being Dueling Beetles, where you can basically put her turret in spawn and it can deal a lot of pressure and get a lot of kills. But other than that, Penny's just decent every wall. So at number 34, it might be a big surprise to a lot of you people, it is Ems. So Ems has made a slow return to the meta. This is mainly due to the fact that there's a lot of Rosa, BB, and Sandy in the meta, and Ems is an amazing counter to these brawlers, especially in game modes like Hot Zone, like Gem Grab. You've seen a lot of Ems in, and people use Ems a lot with Max because of the amazing synergy between Ems' super and Max's speed as well. Ems just really good at keeping the distance between, as I said, those tankier brawlers, and just be a better tank counter to a lot of different brawlers. So yeah, Ems is surprisingly pretty okay in this meta. So at number 33, we have Colt, and Colt has slowly gone down from being the best brawler in the game, and is slowly working his way down the meta. So with Colt, he's still an okay brawler. He has decent stats across the board, but again, there's just better brawlers in 1v1 interactions than Colt right now. He's only really used in Heist with his gadgets to actually break open the wall and redesign the map. He's used a few times in certain comps in competitive and Power League, again just to break open the map and make it more favored for the longer range brawlers. But overall, Colt really isn't in the best place. So at number 32, we have Bo, and this is really surprising because it only seemed like a small buff to his damage, but honestly, when I've used him in scrims, a lot of times Bo is surprisingly really good. That damage can absolutely destroy so many different brawlers in 1v1 interactions. Although you don't see him a lot in competitive, I feel like people haven't really tried him out and really know how to play him in this meta. But I feel like he can be used pretty much on every single mode, especially on more defensive maps. What he can do, well, basically not a lot of brawlers can actually beat him up close, especially on those aggro brawlers. That's where you're going to be bringing Bo out. I've used him a lot in scrims on Gem Grab and in Hot Zone, just to cover basically a lot of the map, trying to break up the map with the Bo mines as well. But Bo is pretty underrated in this meta. So coming in at number 31, we have Frank, and although he's not the best brawler in terms of 1v1 interactions, when you pair him with heal brawlers like a Byron, like a Poco, he's just got so much HP, it's so hard to actually take Frank down. We're seeing a lot of Frank in competitive right now, not so much Power League, mainly in competitive because again, he can just absolutely destroy those brawlers that don't have a lot of DPS, like Mr. P, like Sandy. He can just walk past them a lot of the times and basically be untouchable with a healing brawler behind him. But Frank seriously is really good as well because of Rosa in the meta. There's a lot of Rosa in Gem Grab right now and Brawl maps, so Frank just completely destroys Rosa. That's the main reason why he's higher up on this list than others. So coming in at number 30, we have Tara, and in terms of competitive, we never really see Tara except for two maps, except that's going to be Snake Prairie and Ice Fort. Other than that, you don't really see her in the meta because there's just a lot of better options than her down the lane. It just takes too long to actually get her super and can lose so many 1v1 interactions. But overall, in terms of like ladder and that type of gameplay, she's a solid pick on Gem Grab and Brawl, mainly just because once you get that super, you can just basically win every single lane in the game. But yeah, Tara, not really in the best spot right now. So at number 29, we have Daryl. And Daryl secretly is really underrated in this meta. He's used a lot in competitive, a lot of times because of his role. His role is just a bit more versatile than a lot of other tanks. Obviously, you can close the gap between the more control brawlers. You can just keep rolling on them over and over again. He's used on a lot of different comps inside of Hot Zone. He's really good inside of Heist. I feel like he's just a solid brawler overall. I wouldn't really call him OP in any state of mind. But if you know how to use Daryl effectively, he can be really OP. So at number 28, we have B. And B is one of these brawlers where inside of scrims and just overall Power League, we're not really seeing a lot of her right now because of Mr. P. Mr. P just completely counters B and takes her out of the equation. But in terms of ladder and just overall experience with B, she can be pretty much used everywhere. In terms of Brawl Ball, every single map as a mid. She's just a solid choice on a lot of different maps as well. She's not really found herself in the meta so much in competitive, as I said, but I feel like over time, once Mr. P gets a nerf, B will really thrive in the meta. So coming in at number 27, we have Brock, and he got a big damage buff with the last update, and this has really helped him out in the meta. We've seen him a lot more in Heist now. We've seen him in Brawl Ball to counter a lot of those brawlers behind the walls. He can use his gadget to really good effect, breaking up the map and redesigning it for those longer range compositions. I still feel like he's a little bit too squishy for this meta as brawlers. Again, I will keep mentioning it because Mr. P is so strong. I can just completely wreck him because of his slow reload speed and his low HP. But Brock, he's slowly working his way up in the meta. So coming in at number 26, we have Edgar. And even with the nerf to his HP, I still feel like Edgar is an amazing assassin in this meta. He completely destroys those squishy brawlers. Again, like the Mr. P's, the Sandys, the brawlers that don't have a lot of DPS up close, he can still just jump on them so easily and win near enough every single 1v1 engagement in the game. You see him a lot in Hot Zone right now as an aggressive brawler against his brawlers that don't really have a really fast reload time and actually have a lot of, little HP. Actually seen him quite a little bit on Siege as well now because the amount of throwers that are on there, the ticks, the barleys, Mr. P, you see a lot of those and Edgar just completely counters them. So Edgar's still pretty good in this meta. So at number 25, we have Jackie. Jackie's just a solid option across the board right now. You can pretty much use on every single map on Brawl Ball and have a decent success rate. She pairs perfectly well with Poco. She's probably one of the best tanks that actually pair with him, and also she's just really good on a lot of siege maps. If you've not got a BB in your comp, especially on Power League, Jackie can be a really good alternative. She's especially really good against those squishy brawlers like the Mr. P's, like the throwers, and that's why she works so well on siege. She's just decent in this meta. So coming in at number 24 in the meta, it's going to be Rico. So Rico definitely isn't overpowered by any stretch of the imagination, but when there's a map that really suits Rico, he can completely dominate. So if there's a lot of walls on the map, Rico can work his way bouncing around and dealing a lot of damage and pressure. His best maps are going to be heist maps like Hot Potato. He's just going to basically completely wreck everyone. He's basically a worse version than Ruffs, that's why he's not as high in the meta. Ruffs has got the same capabilities as a Rico and can give people the upgrades. Rico hasn't got that ability, so if you're thinking in that way, Rico can suck if you've got a high level Ruffs to use. But anyway, he's just decent across the board, can be used in a lot of different gem grab maps, Brawl Ball maps, and yeah, he's pretty okay. So number 23, we have Piper. So again, another reason why Piper isn't the best in the meta is because of the amount of Mr. P's. It takes so much ammo to actually take down those porters. That's one of the main reasons why she's at the bottom. But moving it on to Piper, best mode for sure right now is going to be Bounty. She's really good on Shooting Star at the moment and okay on Snake Prairie. Wouldn't really use her in the other Bounty competitive map, but Piper overall is just okay. Won't really use her too much. Gets countered a lot by the really meta brawlers like Max as well. There's a lot of Max in competitive right now, that's why I don't see too much Piper, but she's still got to be a good option in really open maps. So next up at number 22 is Nanny. Nanny basically is the better version of Piper right now. You've got a better super with the Nanny Peep dealing a lot of damage at long range. Also, Nanny as well has got more range than Piper and is also much better up close. You can deal up to 2.9k damage up really close. So against really aggro brawlers, Nanny's also a better option in that case. But Nanny is amazing in Bounty right now, specifically Shooting Star. Nanny's like the golden pick there. That's why she's so good. She's amazing in Bounty. She's really decent on the open maps as well. And Nanny's just a solid option overall. So coming in at number 21 on the list is going to be Crow. And a lot of you guys might be really surprised by this one, but the recent buffs to Crow really did help him in the meta. So on the longer range maps, we actually run Crow a lot, and sometimes in the best comps, we actually use Crow. So maps specifically, Kaboom Canyon and Backyard Bowl, Crow is an amazing pick. Mainly this is due to the fact of his gadget, the Slowing Toxin. 5 seconds, it can last forever, especially if you get a couple of enemies in that gadget. They're just going to be slowed forever, and especially the longer range brawlers, Crow can actually counter a lot of them. Brawlers like Amber, Crow's actually really good down the lane against, and also like Colette. There are a lot of popular choices on these longer range maps, and Crow can just do a really good job. But yeah, overall, Crow is actually really decent. So coming in at number 20 on the list, we have my favorite brawler in the game right now, Jean. So Jean, everyone knows, has really sucks for a long while now with a lot of nerfs recently, but slowly been getting buffs, and a big buff to his HP has allowed him to be even more meta. So Jean, of course, synergizes really well with Max, who's one of the best brawlers in the game right now. And Jean, you can pretty much use on every single siege map. He's really good in gem grab. As I said, synergized with Max. You're going to be seeing Max everywhere, so that's why those two together, probably one of the best combos in the game, and forever will be, just because of the healing and the speeds combination with his super as well. The only thing is for Jean that really holds him back is the Mr. P again. Mr. P counters a lot of brawlers in this meta, but specifically Jean. When Mr. P is good, Jean really suffers, so he's just got really slow reload speed, takes forever to take down those porters, and of course it makes it a bit harder to pull the enemy, but Jean is decent in the meta right now. So coming in at number 19, we have Poco, and we've seen a lot of Poco double tank in competitive right now. And Poco obviously is the main reason for this because of how good he is with his healing. He's got 3 different forms of healing and just allows for tanks to be even more meta. We've even seen Poco in combinations that you won't really see very likely. You've seen Poco in some heist maps. You've seen Poco on Siege. You've seen him on all these different combinations because of how much healing potential he has. And Poco is secretly pretty OP in this meta. Coming in at number 18, we have Pam. And Pam is just a solid option overall. She's got really good damage, really good range, a really unique super as well. You can use your super to get additional damage a lot of times on aggressive brawlers, and it can be really surprising to a lot of enemies, and that extra couple of ticks can really take them down. But yeah, Pam's basically good on every single mode right now. The longer range maps and more open ones where she's going to thrive more on. The maps I can think of like Kaboom, Backyard Ball, she's always really good with, and just the healing and everything in general is just really good for Pam. So next up at number 17, we have Nita. Unfortunately, Nita really only succeeds in Brawl. She would have been really higher on the list. I think it's just mainly due to the maps don't really favor Nita too much. But inside of Brawl, Nita is absolutely amazing. She's so good against the tankier brawlers because she can just cycle her bears over and over again. She's also good against squishy brawlers because a lot of times you can just wall peek and literally 2 or 3 tap them a lot of times. But Nita overall, her overall kit is just really good. You can either pick Hyper Bear if you want to go on Heist. Every other mode, you've got the Bear with me and the new gadget as well. It just takes so long to get the bear, and you can just keep cycling over and over again. Nita is a solid option right now. At number 16, we have Tick, and Tick is crazy OP right now. Ever since they actually, I think they secretly buffed him with this mechanic, it can be a little bit easier to dodge all 3 mines sometimes, and with Tick it can be hard to actually shoot turrets with this change, but overall it's actually extended his range, so it can be even more annoying on long range maps like Shooting Star, like Canal Grande. He's just going to be even more insane on. Tick also is really good on a few hot zone maps and basically every single siege map as well because of how much range and spam he's got. He's got an amazing gadget which basically counters all aggro brawlers in the game. Tick is so annoying and so OP right now. At number 15, we have Byron. Ever since they buffed his extra nauseous style power, he's been able to revive himself back into the meta. So mainly on Siege, we really didn't see Barley for a very long time now. But ever since they buffed his damage, he's hopped straight in, back into the Siege meta. He probably is the #1 brawler in Siege just because the amount of damage he can do, especially when you've literally got 1 robot. Sometimes you can even 1-push it with the amount of damage that Barley does now. He's also pretty solid across basically every single game mode. Probably longer range maps you want to stay away with Barley because he hasn't got the most range. But in terms of game modes, Siege and Heist are always going to be his best. So coming in at number 14, we have Rosa. And Rosa with her new gadget is insane on a lot of bushy maps right now. So the main maps that she's going to be good on are the gem grab maps, the Brawl maps, and also the bounty maps she can actually be really good on. And the synergy with Max and Sandy, the Max Sandy Rosa combination, sometimes you really cannot stop it. It's so insane, especially when you've got max speed, you've got a Rosa super. It's just crazy OP right now. The slow just basically allows her to win everyone's lane if they're inside of bush. You can think of maps like Sneaky Fields, for example. You can pop that gadget and all 3 lanes are going to get slowed, and it just allows for so much control. Rosa's really good in this meta. So next up at number 13 in the meta is going to be Mortise, and Mortise is crazy OP right now. I see him used so much on Hot Zone, for example. That's probably his best mode right now because there's a lot of squishy brawlers on that mode. He can just chain his super across so many different brawlers. Main reason why he's so good as well is because a lot of the brawlers at the top of the meta don't really do a lot of damage up close. Mortise obviously really sucks against those brawlers that do a lot of damage. And the brawlers that don't do a lot of damage, he can just completely wreck, especially if you get the chaining of your supers. You can just stay alive for so long. If you're a good Mortise, you're going to be wrecking people in this meta. So coming in at number 12, we have Colette. She's crazy OP in this meta. One main reason for this is because there's so many Rosa combinations in the game right now. In Gem Grab, in Brawl, there's so much Rosa, so Colette can be a really good counter and just be good for precaution measures, because in this meta you can get countered by tanks, as I said. So using Colette can just be really good because she's good against range brawlers, she's good against tank brawlers, she's just a solid option overall. The best game mode is going to be Heist for sure, especially if you're using the shield star power. You can just keep cycling your supers over and over again and basically unstoppable, especially on maps like Kaboom Canyon. You've also got really good synergy with Byron if you're using the shield star power, and Byron, basically you can be untouchable once you super once with Colette with the shield. Byron just keeps healing you. There's hardly any brawlers can actually take you down in the game. Colette is OP in this meta. So coming in at number 11 in the meta, it's going to be Jessie. Even after all of her nerfs, she's still going to be such a good option in this meta. Main reason for this is because she can completely destroy the tanks and the high HP brawlers, and also she's just good against everything. She's good against control. Her turret just allows you for so much control as well. If you're using a spark plug gadget, what it basically does, it just gives you a free kill. You can just throw your turret, press the gadget, slows enemies, you can slow it to 3 people, and just can basically confirm so many kills in a row. Jessie seriously is OP in this meta. Okay, so moving into the top 10 now, starting off at number 10 with BB. BB is so good in this meta right now. Her gadget and baton stance style power just make for such a good synergy. It actually takes so long to take a BB down. Her best mode for sure is going to be Siege right now. She's just insane at obviously bolt collecting. There's not a lot of brawlers that can just take her down, especially with a lot of meta on Siege. There's a lot of throwers, there's a lot of Sandy, and BB just wrecks literally all of them. She's just a good option down a lot of different lanes on so many different modes. BB is crazy good right. So next up at number 9 in the meta, it's going to be Sandy. So Sandy didn't receive any form of balance change in the last set of balances, and I was really surprised by this because Sandy has been good for a while now. With that super, it only takes 5 shots to get, and it just allows you to get so much control. The main modes for Sandy right now are going to be Gem Grab, and in Siege, Sandy can basically be used in every single comp inside of a Siege. It's just a safe option because, as I said, the super can literally cover the whole of the mid, allowing you to get so much control and pushing the enemy back. Sandy is good right now. Up next at number 8 in the meta is Sprout, and I don't remember the last time when Sprout hasn't been meta. He's actually received a buff about 2 or 3 months ago, and it actually increased his damage, and it's just made him even better. Sprout is insane in this current meta. He's like one of the best mids in the game right now. He basically counters all of the other mids except for the really aggressive ones like Max. The only thing that Sprout struggles against is the really tanky options and the really aggressive brawlers, so he can get countered pretty easily in competitive, but overall he can be solid against basically everything. Every single mode you can get away with using him because you can just destroy squishy brawlers. Alright guys, jumping into the 7th best brawler in this current meta, it's going to be 8-Bit, and I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't received any sort of nerf recently because he's been crazy OP for such a long time now. Ever since they introduced the new star power, he's just been so good. So the best thing about 8-Bit is that it becomes fast with his turret, and he also can just basically outrange every single brawler in the game. Also in this meta with Byron, those two together just make such an amazing synergy. Basically nothing can stop them when they're together in a combo. It's crazy OP right now. His biggest counter is going to be Mr. P because Mr. P can basically shoot over the walls and destroy his turret pretty efficiently. But as long as you're using 8-Bit on a long range map and throwing your turret far back safe away so the enemies can't destroy it, 8-Bit is just going to completely dominate. Okay, so moving into the 6th best brawler in this meta, it's going to be Max. Max basically is everywhere in terms of Power League, in terms of tournaments, competitive. Max is used in every single game mode. It's just got such a good synergy with every single brawler in the game, especially if you're using this supercharged star power. It basically just allows you to get free supers within about 10 seconds of the game. You really don't need much time to get your super with his star power. And as I said, it just allows your teammates to win lanes so much easier. It's so hard to actually hit people when we're inside of a max super. That's the main reason why Max is so OP. She's just got really good damage and just an amazing kit overall. Max is so OP in this meta. So now moving into the top 5 brawlers in this meta. The first one at number 5 is going to be Byron. Byron is crazy strong right now. It's kind of surprising how they haven't nerfed him because of how versatile he is. He's got one of the best normal attacks in the game. It's so easy to actually connect with that shot. It's also got a poisoning effect, so every second for 3 seconds you're going to be dealing 532 damage. That can just be really annoying because obviously that takes you longer to actually start the regenning process, just like how Crow's Poison works as well. As I said, you've got a really good super. It can heal you up and deal damage at the same time. The gadget brings you back up to full HP. The star power, you can heal and do damage to the enemy teams at the same time. He's just got such an amazing kit, and he's just crazy broken right now. So moving into the 4th best brawler in this meta is going to be Amber, and even after her nerf, she's still just crazy broken right now. I think the main reason for this is the auto-aim mechanic with Amber, and also the fact that you can't really dodge her attacks. The second that Amber locks onto you, you basically know that you're dead, even after the damage nerf. A lot of people are asking as well. Basically, they've just reversed the previous buff with her in terms of the damage, but I feel like the main reason is just because people have learned how to play with Amber, especially with the gadget, and with brawlers as well in this meta like Mr. P, who Amber just hard counters like crazy. You've also got a lot of Max in this meta, so if you're going to be speeding up an Amber, basically no one's going to be able to get out of her range. She's just got so much range, so much control with her supers. She's so broken right now. So coming in as the 3rd best brawler in the game currently is Mr. P. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Mr. P for me is by far the most annoying brawler in the game. The amount of porters he can actually just send out is insane. With the new gadget, you can just throw that onto anyone, especially if you're a low DPS brawler or a slow reloading brawler. Most of the time, you're going to have to waste at least 2 ammo just to take down 1 porter. And what this does is just pressures back the enemy so much, because you're going to have to waste 2 ammo. The enemy team will realize that you've not got much ammo to actually get into a gunfight, so that's obviously going to pressure you back. You've also got the revolving door star power, and every single second a new porter is going to spawn once that one dies. It's just crazy amount of pressure that Mr. P can actually put out. He's good basically everywhere right now. Inside of Power League as well, he probably is the #1 picked brawler because of how versatile he is. He's just crazy OP right now. Okay guys, so moving into the 2nd best brawler currently in the game is the new brawler Stu. Stu, in every single 1v1 interaction, I believe he will be able to win because of how quickly he can auto-aim. You can deal 1.6k damage with 2 shots with Stu, which is just crazy. He basically counters every single brawler in the game. The only counter I can really think of is Ruffs, and Ruffs is crazy OP right now. Anyway, he's just so good. Versatility with his super. It only takes 1 single shot to charge your super as Stu, and what you can do, you can just keep knocking people back, keep stunning them, and keep cycling over and over again. Stu is so OP. Okay guys, so moving into the best brawler in the game currently in Brawl Stars, it's going to be Colonel Ruffs. Ever since he's been released, he probably has been the best brawler in the game. The main reason for this is because of his super. What this allows him to do is just boost up his teammates, and if they're staying alive and the enemy team haven't got any power-ups of any kind, they're just going to get absolutely wrecked. It doesn't really matter who Ruffs gives his power up to. It's just going to make them even better, and especially if you're giving them to the more OP brawlers, you know, for example, like a Byron, he's going to get even more HP with, deal more damage and heal up your teammates with every single shot. Basically, everything's going to get boosted, and if the enemy team doesn't have a Ruffs on the enemy team, you're just going to get destroyed. He's so versatile. Inside of every single combo, Ruffs is going to be so strong on. It's just crazy broken right now. Alright guys, it's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. This took so much time to actually plan out, to record, and to commentate over, and also edit as well. So I appreciate any type of feedback that you guys put in the comment section, whether you like the video, what you've changed for it next time. But that's going to be the end of today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.